Can I say something
small things? Yeah,
a little
absolutely.
bit critical of Amasty specifically, but I'll try to say it. This is based on some feedback, but I want to say it in a way that is, critical but respectful. Hello, welcome to Magetalk. I'm Kalen.
And I am Willem.
And he's Willem. And we are here today coming to you live from sunny Georgetown, I almost said California. Georgetown, Texas. And
Heerlen in the Netherlands.
Netherlands.
I'd be surprised if you know what it is. Well, maybe Dutch people would know, but it's all the way south in the Netherlands.
Oh, wait, I thought you said here in the Netherlands, but what did you say?
No,
What's the name?
Heerlen.
Oh, that's dope, dude. What are you talking
I won't
like that?
spend too much time on teaching you how that's written
it's tricky.
or pronounced.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Down the south. I always say it's near Maastricht. And some people that know the Netherlands in the slides know where Maastricht is, because there's some conventions or like they signed treaties there. So some people know.
Totally. Dude, what was the show called? Vikings. Did you watch the show Vikings?
No.
It was on I think it was on Hulu.
Is that where you get all your knowledge about the Dutch from Vikings?
Most of it. I don't know if probably. But when you started talking like that, it brought me back to the way they talk a little bit. But did you watch the show? It's a great show.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of The Last Kingdom, though, where you also have Vikings, where they try and conquer England.
Right.
I love that show.
Yeah, I've heard that one. Somebody actually, when I didn't finish Vikings, but I got to a point in the series where the main character, spoiler alert, Ragnar, he dies, and
couldn't take it.
I couldn't do it. And some people were like, "Yeah, it's kind of still good, but it's just different." And I was like, "Sorry." And so then I had tweeted about it, and somebody told me you should watch The Last Kingdom. It's kind of similar. And then yesterday on TikTok, I saw a post from the actor who plays Ragnar. And it was just some random post, and then I liked it and I commented, and I think he liked my comment, but I didn't know if it was his actual account or some random troll account. But then I clicked, and I was like, "Wait a second, I think this is the actual dude." So, anyways, but it's a great show, and you have
or his social media manager.
Yeah, maybe
it's ghostwriting social media manager. Some
that just killed my whole morning. Yeah, you're supposed to make my morning for the second time, dude. Holy cow, man. Anyways, but I actually didn't know what city you were in, because I know some of the cities in the Netherlands. Obviously Amsterdam, and then what's the one Peter Yap is in? That's the kind of the cool little sort of tech hub-ish.
This is great. So you go in. I know a couple of cities in the Netherlands, like Amsterdam. Can you help me with the rest? Which others do I know?
No. I remember. I've even talked to people about the city randomly, but I'm blanking on it.
Peter Yap is from Groningen.
Yes, Groningen. I say Groningen.
Groningen. But that's like a cool cities. Bigger cities are Rotterdam, Utrecht, The Hague, where the international court is, and The Hague.
Oh, okay.
Eindhoven, where some Magento agencies are from.
Oh, that sounds familiar. What gives you guys the right to have the international court in The Hague? I never agreed to that. I never voted on that.
International right gives us the right. I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
enough.
Brussels has something. Most of European stuff happens in Brussels, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe there was the one particular lawyer that had a good idea and said, "I'm the first to go and start doing that here."
Yeah. That makes sense.
It's probably some history there, but it's not really my area of expertise.
What is your area of expertise, man? What do you do?
I know nothing. I know nothing beside Magento stuff.
That's good.
Nothing. That's why I feel uncomfortable about some of the things that we discussed earlier, like a magic quadrants, and Gartner stuff. So that's why it's good that you had Isaiah. No, his name's hard to like.
Isaiah.
There's a couple of names that you read over and over and over, but you never pronounce it. If I need to
100%
recall what the name is, like like Christoph from Fuhrmann.
Yeah.
I would recognize his last name a million times, Ringleff or something, but it takes me a lot of time to remember what it was exactly. He's just Christoph, first name.
Christoph. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun one with Isaiah. And, he knows a lot more about all the businessy stuff than I do. So it was fun to just kind of riff on
together,
that.
Probably.
Yeah, but then both of us combined. But it was fun to just kind of riff on a little bit of that stuff. And, so that was a good time. But, so what are we talking about today, dude? What are we getting? Yeah, we're making a little bit more coffee. Focusing on my.
We should maybe give some context about your ruined morning, because I thought.
Yeah, I want to talk about this. Because I keep doing it. I keep
going and elevate me to inhuman levels.
I keep doing it, and I understand it's cringy and it's awkward, but this is my as I've said before, I'm sort of playing with this sort of my own weird brand of humor, and it's I think that when you try
I'm the victim.
Yeah, you're the unwitting victim. But when you try to it's funny because I'll listen to podcasts talk about comedy and stuff like that, and not that I'm a comedian or anything, but it's like if you're going to be funny, you're going to play with that line of what's cringy or awkward or whatever, and when you get it right, it's funny, and if you get it wrong, then it's just awkward, and the only way to like develop that humor muscle is to kind of experiment with it and play with it, and you're going to get it wrong a lot.
Spend 10,000 hours making jokes, right?
Exactly.
10,000 hours.
Yeah. So I just
Brand is almost there.
He's almost there. So I do this whole this whole God King meme and I've talked about I do think it's important to have a leader of an open source project. Not only open source project, but businesses in general. I think founder-led companies do better. I think that if Roy and Yoav would have stuck around, it would have been a different picture. And so part of that, when I joke about things, there's a grain of truth, and then there's something funny or absurd about it. And like I've said, and I know that it makes you cringe because you don't like that, and this is the other thing I like about you, and people don't realize this, but I behind the scenes, I see how like you're a humble guy. You know what I mean? I remember when we were scheduling a Magetalk, and you were just persistently following up to schedule the podcast, and you had no ego whatsoever in it. It was something that mattered to you. And I think that everybody has an ego, but I think you have on the lower end of the spectrum, which is part of what also makes it funny to me. And but I know that I know you get crap for it, and it's a little awkward, but it's just, I'm goofing around with this little sense of humor, and sometimes it'll be awkward, and you'll tell me to delete a tweet, and so we'll see.
I know. I mean, we discussed it in a previous a pod that I said. It's like, it's cringy, like when your mom tells you you're the most pretty boy in the world, while others are around. It's like, Mom,
it's like,
I'm not 8. I'm not 8 anymore.
Yeah,
and it's like, it's different when you say crap like that on a podcast and you laugh it away and maybe make a comment on it. That I don't really.
Tweets can be a weird context. Yeah.
Tweets are so weird because I read you tweeting some god-king ridiculous nonsense and I don't know how to respond. I can't do right. Like, I can't endorse it. I don't want to endorse it. I can't like, go against it. Like, it's like, can I?
It's a checkmate, dude.
Make this disappear? Yeah.
I got you checkmated, bro. But yeah, man. So I get it.
It's funny. I mean, this morning I read it and I was in between. Vina was here for 4 days in the Netherlands, so I've been texting around, and we had an appointment in the morning, and I read it just before the appointment. And I said, "Oh God, Kaden, please don't." So I wrote a 1-line message to you, like, "Oh, please, God, remove this." And it's how it goes with text messages, you know. A 1-line message is usually misinterpreted. Like, you thought I was super mad at you, and
and. Anyways, so I want people to know it's my own goofy thing. Like, Willem hates it. I do it partly because he hates it, and you know, like we can have some jokes. You know, I'm also in this weird thing where, you know, I've been Christian for a long time and pretty religious, and then things have. Things have, I guess, evolved a bit for me in recent years. And so it's I think I'm also...
evolved how?
I don't know. Maybe we'll get into this another time. But I think, I've spent a lot of time reading the Bible and and memorizing a lot of it and stuff like that. And then I've gone in and out of those phases. But so and sometimes, like, I get an idea for, like, a joke that's related to something in the Bible, and I don't know, man. I'm in a weird phase, dude. Something in the Bible can really deeply resonate with me, and then I can want to tweet something about that as like a joke, a version of it, or sometimes a sincere post related to it. I think about religion a lot. I think about, like, we talked about that whole deal, how everybody has different flavors of religions called different things. Mm-hmm. So that's a whole other thread in my life right now. But are
you in church every Sunday?
Yeah. Yeah. So we've done that for a long time. And yeah. So. But,
with the whole family, I suppose then.
Yeah. Whole fam.
Cool.
Whole family. Anyways,
I mean, I don't even think in my family we have something like a ritual like that we do with. I mean, we're just with the 3 of us. But there's not one thing that we do every week on the exact same time, which that alone seems lovely to me. To have a common thing and a ritual that you do together.
100%. And this is one of the themes that I think about is that you know, whether you believe in a certain book or not, I think what's universal to human beings is rituals. And I think that, you know, we sort of go, well, I don't know if this idea or this belief system makes sense to me in my head, so I'm not going to do it. And now there's like a framework that in many ways undergirds like society. Like, even going back to the Vikings movie, right? Like you look at, you know, the Vikings, they had a very different belief system, and some of it's pretty cool. But it undergirded everything that made them do what they did, how they lived, the reason they had priorities. It held society together and families together. So I think, so I think stuff like that is important. But I think I was a lot more closed-minded in the past, where it's like, hey, if you're not in my group, you're going to hell. And I think that's something that's changed for me in recent years. And I think that I just feel a lot closer to people in general, and a lot more like love and affection for people in general, regardless of what they believe or don't believe. So I think that's important.
Because otherwise, if you would have found out in New York and you would have rejected me once you found out there that I wasn't in your group, that would have really spoiled all the fun.
Yeah, standing at the Hiva booth, and I'm like, Willem, do you believe in Jesus? And you're like, no, and I'm like, oh no.
I mean, if you're gonna call it Hiva, you won't be standing at the booth for long anyway. Like, we'll have a special group for people that call it Hiva.
Did I just say Hiva? Because I actually purposefully try to say Huva, believe it or not. I do that intentionally.
I really don't. I think that should just be left to interpretation. I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's just funny that somehow we're so international these days that this is a topic. But years ago. Okay, let me give an example. We had the two most famous shoe brands.
Yeah.
They're pronounced entirely different where you live and where I live.
Right.
And before the internet, before podcasts and videos and whatever, I never ever heard anyone say Adidas. And I guess you say Adidas. How do you call
Adidas?
You say Adidas. Okay, so we say Adidas.
Oh, nice.
And Nikes. Nike is an old Greek god called Nike.
Mm-hmm.
Nike, and we say Nike, and you say Nike. Mm-hmm. So, and those are two of the most famous brands around the world, and pretty much everyone here that's not super internationally focused, old people, they would say Nike and Adidas, and you would say something entirely different. So please be ignorant and say Hiva. I don't. That's okay.
Thank you. As an American, I appreciate you giving me the permission to be ignorant. That's my. I feel that's my God-given right. Sorry.
I always wanted to say you should do what your best. But
to say what?
Crossing lines here.
You always wanted to say what?
It's one of the things that you do best. It's one of the things that you do best, you remind me.
Touche.
No.
Yeah.
Most of you don't. Murica.
We've got a couple good apples out here in the land of the free, home of the brave.
Yeah, I'm so excited about New York. I mean, probably people listening to it are like, "Oh my God, it's the third time they're talking, and it's only about New York."
It's all that I. It's
now
all
that
you're
coming and you're getting all these people raffled up to join us. Are we going to do a little meetup the day after?
Absolutely.
Saturday?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think we should do a meetup at the hotel. What is it? The Courtyard Times Square West?
That would be convenient, as that's the hotel where
let's just do it at the hotel bar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And keep it simple, man. We're not paying anybody's anything. You come there, you pay for your own drinks. No sponsors, nothing fancy. Maybe we do an on-the-fly unconference style unconference right there at the bar. Or maybe we just hang out. You know what I mean? But we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the whole thing. I'm going to be there from the 21st to the 24th. So 24th I think I fly back. So gonna enjoy. Maybe I'll buy a new iPhone there, because I just saw they were announced last night.
Oh, really?
Yesterday for you. New iPhones, and they are €500 more expensive here. Like the start price is $1,000. Like it's $1,000 in the US, and it's almost €1,500 here. And
that's crazy.
Today, the euro and the dollar are pretty much equal. Like they're the same value. So it's much more expensive. I mean, they've always been. It's always been a little bit cheaper to buy them in the US, but this seems a lot more expensive.
And are you one of these guys that you get the brand new iPhone every time it comes out?
No, I always skip a couple. Like if it's still good, it's still good. Right now, I think the 12, but the screen is kind of broken. It has a broken line. There's a line of pixels that are dead. So I have a bright blue line in my screen. And if I want to have it repaired, I will need to give them my phone for, 2 weeks. And I can't do without my phone.
Right.
So I'm waiting for a new model, and then I'll see if I can get this one fixed afterwards.
Nice.
You?
Nice, yeah.
Are you an iPhone man? Probably.
I was an Android man, and then I got an iPhone, and I get them old, dude. I have like an iPhone 10. I get like a refurbished iPhone 10. That's
I feel from that moment, starting with the iPhone X or 10, they arrived at a peak point where the phone was so good that you don't need to really upgrade anymore. And the thing is that my wife needed a new one.
The wife always needs a new one. The wife always needs the best one, the best camera, all this kind of stuff. Right?
No. I disagree. She didn't need a new one. She just needed mine, and then I could buy the new one. So she got my 10, and then I upgraded, but I didn't necessarily need to upgrade. And the 10 is still like a really good device. So
sorry to cut you off. I just got a notification. I have a call in 30, so I wish we had more time, but we got 30. We got a hard
30
stop.
Minutes?
30 minutes hard stop in 30. My apologies. So we're gonna have to.
So in 3 minutes or in another 30 minutes?
30, half hour. Yeah, 30 minutes. 30.
So that's fine. We have another half an hour.
No, yeah, we're good. I just wanted to. I didn't even know I had a meeting at that time until my watch told me. So.
Good.
Sorry for interrupting now, but.
No. So how are things evolving for you? How much can you share publicly about your new endeavor?
Super stealth. I think any week now, I'm going to be ready to announce, but it's so I would love nothing more than to start diving into it because I'm insanely excited about it. But yeah, I can't do that quite yet. But yeah, so probably I think for sure for next week I'll be ready to go. I'm just trying to talk to some people one-on-one about it before I make the big announcement.
I feel your struggle not to spill, not to
oh yeah,
anything.
You got a little something too, a little something cooking.
No, I feel your struggle not to not to say what you're up to.
Yeah. It goes against every bone in my body not to talk about what I'm up to, but for some specific reasons, I have to have a few one-on-ones.
So I guess this is the section where we say what we've been working.
Yes.
what we've been doing recently.
Yes.
Yes. And you're not sharing, so I'll share.
Yeah, you're gonna have to carry this segment. This is all you.
Yeah, I had Sanne Bolkestein in the office this week, who started as our commercial director.
Yeah. That's huge.
A lot of people might know her in the Magento community, as she's been commercial manager at Hypernode for 8 or 9 years even previously. Yeah. So she knows the community very, very well, and she understands the product very well. And we got her very excited to join Hyvä, and
That's huge.
And I don't really know what I'm doing commercial wise. I mean, we're building a great business, but she has such a good understanding of how to launch our new products and how to put up a bit of marketing campaigns and partner management, and how we can help our partners and our merchants and agencies achieve great things with our product. And it's great. It feels, she takes a lot of things off my hands. So it's like, I was talking about the Amasty partnership, and we just announced that recently. I said, I only need to write a blog post about it. And she said, I could write it for you. Oh, fantastic. And it's like with a lot of these things, like, I still need to prepare some things for New York. They need to know what color tablecloth we need. She's like, I got it. Just going to a conference and setting up the booth and get pop-up banners there and everything. It eats a lot of time. And
can I say something?
Small things.
Yeah, a little bit critical of Amasty specifically, but I'll try to say it. This is related to what I will say is I've been re-engaging a bit more with Magento community and stuff like that. And this is based on some feedback, but I want to say in a way that is, critical but respectful. Is that okay?
It hooks into one of the talking points that we had in the doc, which is related to JetRails. So you go ahead and we weave that into the JetRails and Amasty thing.
Is there a doc? My bad, dude.
We still have the doc. Have the doc from the
was this from?
Still hanging around for the first and the second episode we did. I'm just crossing off things that we already talked about and what we have.
Wait, so did you have the JetRails Amasty thing in the doc that you set up? Very interesting.
For weeks already. For weeks.
Dude, you were way ahead of the game. You were way ahead.
Give it some context.
All right, so the context is that obviously Amasty has a huge footprint in the community, right? A lot of people have, and it's funny because it's been so long since I've been at the code level that I don't even remember the specifics, but a lot of people have run into a lot of scenarios where an Amasty module is conflicting with one thing or another, right? I'm not sharing any specific references from any specific people, but a lot of people go, I don't want to touch Amasty modules. I don't want to deal with them. They cause a lot of problems. They cause a lot of conflicts, right? Now, the JetRails partnership with Amasty is interesting. It's like a PaaS, SaaS type of a thing where you get a hosted Magento and you can use Amasty modules. Now, and by the way, I don't personally, I think in terms of there's the code level stuff, there's the community level stuff, there's the ecosystem level stuff. Part of the thing is that when there's somebody who is at conferences, in the community, whatever that means exactly, on social media, whatever that in the community means, we're going to, if they're not in the community, it's very easy to just criticize them brutally, especially if there's anything problematic about their product. If they're in the community, of course,
thing to criticize.
It's easy to criticize. If they're in the community, you're going to be more diplomatic, right? If you have a partner program, if somebody's well respected, you're going to be a lot more diplomatic. You're going to think twice before criticizing them. So these are just sort of human dynamics. Now, I don't really personally know anyone from Amasty, I don't think, right? And so I think that part of the thing there is that if you do, and you can talk to somebody and you can say, like, do you guys understand the level of pain that you're causing X people in X scenarios? And then you see, is there an understanding there? Or, there's certain companies that are just like, hey man, we're out here making money, we're doing this, we don't care about your problem. You X, Y, and Z. I'm not saying that's the case. That can be the case with, And so basically, but the counter argument, right, is that, Amasty has a ton of modules, right? And, they've put a lot of stuff out there. They've solved a lot of real world business problems. I think your integration strategy is super smart with getting extension vendors integrating with Huba. And so, it's like, show me another extension vendor that has done this many different things, has solved this many different problems, and doesn't have a few issues here and there with code conflicts, number one. Number two, there's people who, let's say, are leaving Magento or having severe issues with Magento, not because of Amasty issues, but because of they're using extension X, Y, and Z, and it was not updated fast enough for whatever specific Magento version increment, whatever specific thing, right? So, and that might be an extension that's well respected in the community, but if they're not moving fast enough on solving certain business problems, that can cause merchants to want to leave. And so you might say, well, there's a significant percentage of merchants who are leaving because of XYZ conflict. Maybe it's caused underlying by Adobe's release strategy with the versions, whatever. And you go, well, who's causing more of the sort of net pain in the ecosystem from that perspective? And you might say, well, maybe Amasty's doing pretty well in that department, right? Especially when you factor in the fact that they have so many different extensions, so many different So that's kind of my overall take on
it. There's nothing as difficult as managing a reputation, and you're so vulnerable when you have hundreds of extensions.
Yeah.
And you have maybe 100 developers working for you.
Yeah.
You'll never be in a situation where 100 of your employees are all rock stars that output the highest level of quality. As a company, it would be great if you have quality assurance, and even if a developer builds something that's maybe a bit below par, that it's not being released. But is the train track noise too loud? Do you hear that? I have the window open. You don't hear that? Okay, perfect.
I think just barely, and then I think the sound normalization will remove it too in post.
So being that big, having that many extensions, the quality will usually vary. And if you have a couple of extensions that have bad performance influence, people are going to judge you just based on that. And you can have 95 great extensions and 5 bad ones.
Yeah.
And it will ruin your reputation. And these kind of things stick around for a long time. We mentioned iTalk in I think 2 episodes back. And you said when we were talking about IronCube, we joked a little bit about it, like are they still around? And they are in fact still around. And I spoke to them recently. One, was
it iTalk or Unergy that we mentioned with the
iTalk?
I
think.
Okay.
Or Unergy. Okay, but same goes for both.
Same, but different. Yeah.
They had the same reputation issues that they were using IronCube, and that's a thing long of the past. And actually, there's even a new owner of iTalk. So that business is being run completely different. And with Amasty, it's a very big company, and they have some high quality extensions. They have some less high quality extensions, and it's funny that what was being mentioned was the Load in the Loop episodes, the podcast. That usually what they found was an extension from Amasty causing performance issues. And the whole podcast, Load in the Loop, is about load in the loop. So loading data models in Magento in a loop. So instead of fetching a collection of products at once, you load a parent collection and then you iterate over them and fetch data per product. And that's a load in the loop, and that causes you seconds of delay if you have a big catalog and you're requesting product data in that way. And that's something that's very easy to accidentally build into an extension if you're an extension developer and you just Googling on Stack Overflow how to fetch attribute data from a product, that's the first example that you'll find.
Yeah.
And good quality assurance would probably run performance tests like Blackfire to find these issues.
Well, and to me, it's also a question of responsiveness. Like, okay, yeah, you're going to put a load in the loop. Everybody's done it. The question is, when the problem is raised, wherever it's raised, however it's raised, do you go, oh, shoot, this is important. Let me fix this right away. Or do you go, or does it funnel through and it never gets fixed and whatever? And I don't know. I don't know how quickly or slowly something like that is handled in that specific scenario. But to me, like for example, you're an extension vendor, you're a theme vendor. If there was some kind of a load, that kind of a performance level type of an issue or something equally problematic, you guys would be on it because you got one product, you're focused on it. It's best of breed for one thing. You don't have 150 extensions, right? And so that I think is very important, is how quickly are people responding to problems that crop up.
Yeah, and as a community, I don't. Perhaps some agencies ran into issues with Amasty extensions and they reported it and it wasn't fixed. But I can also imagine that agencies would see that there's an issue and then say the extension is crap and just remove it and get on with it, and don't give them the space to improve their extension. I don't know about it.
And I don't know. I literally don't know either. And that's where it goes back to partnership program, right? Like you have Sonic building out your partnership. It goes back to, there's a lot of power in being involved in the community, being available, hearing what people are saying, having people that you have good relationships with, so that when somebody runs into an issue, instead of just putting you blast on public and deleting the extension, they bring it to your attention. Maybe they wait a week for it to get resolved or whatever. But that's a much sort of happier cycle overall. And I don't actually know how that's handled or not handled. I just know that almost everybody I know in a certain segment of the community is like, nah, I don't like these extensions. And I think my overall goal, like, I love the fact that you're collaborating together. My overall goal is that, hey, if this is something Amasty does care about, if there is a lot of good stuff that they're doing and they are committed to these types of quality issues, like, let's bring them into the fold. You know what I mean? Like, let's strengthen this whole community together. And
they're pretty hands-on with the whole Huva thing. They're more responsive than I am. They've been waiting more for me to respond than the other way around. And yeah, they have
I certainly know what that feels like.
For them, so.
No, that's a good sign. That's a good sign.
To reiterate what you said, well, that's why I needed Sana, because I just have too many communication channels that I try to take care of, and on a daily basis I get these little messages on LinkedIn with support requests or people interested asking me things, and then on Twitter and in one of the 5 Slacks that I'm part of, and it's just really hard to manage. Manage all of those notifications and keeping track of everything. So I try to pull everything into an email and then work through them. But there's only so much time. And luckily, I get to my emails like, can we hop on a call? And it's just I can't just always hop on a call. But now I have someone that will be able to hop on calls, and that's a fantastic feeling, because it's so much better for the customer experience on the receiving end. And to reiterate what you said about Amasty, they're also solving a real issue in the market. Like
100%.
And it was mentioned in the thread on Slack that where you got the topic from, basically the conversation that was happening on Slack.
And the Slack stuff is all private, so we're not going to mention any. Anything we mention is anonymized.
I'm a politician, you know.
By
now. No, but I just wanted to say there was a good argument, and I feel the same for merchants that don't have $1 million budget. extensions like the ones from Amasty are the simplest solution to get a feature built in. And if you're running $1 million store, then your agency should be capable enough to evaluate the quality of an extension, regardless of which extension provider, because all of the extension providers have subpar extensions. And I wouldn't know of one that doesn't have high and low quality extensions. So as an agency, you should be able to evaluate how good an extension works and decide which to work with and which don't. And especially the high-end projects, they work with custom written code, because in the end, it's much better to write one particular feature for your project and take an extension that also takes in 10 other features in that extension, which you don't need, and they slow down, and it's extra code overhead. But if you're running a store on a lower budget, and that's where the collaboration of JetRails and Amasty comes in. They offer a fully functional store for lower end market for a fixed price, and you can use any Amasty extension in that store. It's included in the price. So as a bootstrap,
kind of interesting
to get started, it's interesting. And since Amasty is giving you the support there, you would expect that those extensions all work well together. And
that's actually
it's a good competition for some SaaS solutions.
Yeah, and I actually didn't know. I didn't spend enough time reading about exactly how it worked, but the fact that I did see the price points, they're like $1,200, $1,500, somewhere along those lines. But the idea that you have a fixed price, it includes your hosting and any of their extensions, which essentially, and again,
upgrades, security patches.
That actually is, and I'm going to get roasted by a lot of people for this, but that's kind of cool, that model. And listen, people have tried this model, right? Creativity. People have tried to build out this lower end of the market, what essentially BigCommerce is tackling, what Shopify is sort of tackling, Magento version. And a lot of people tried, and it's not easy. And so that's actually kind of neat.
If there wasn't a market for their extensions, if they weren't doing a lot of things right, they wouldn't be the number one extension provider in Magento land. And not so many people would be using their extensions. So you can focus on the things that are not good, and that's valid. I mean, if you're running $1 million store, maybe that's not the fit for you. But if you have a junior developer building you a store for $20K, and that's the full budget, you can't have custom built features for everything. You can't have them build a help desk or custom forms or a FAQ that's completely custom built, because the developer doesn't have the knowledge yet, and you don't have the budget. So that's what you can pick, or you go with a SaaS solution, and then you pay different fees.
So it's kind of an interesting option. I do generally prefer extension vendors who have one or like a small number of extensions. They really focus on them. They really make them best of breed.
Fuman really focuses on PDF emails and the
Paradox Labs
he
has some cool stuff.
Exactly. They have subscription extensions. They solve one particular issue really well.
We should at some point go through like the awesome Magento list from David Lambauer and just chat through all that stuff. But there's so that's generally, I like that model for a number of reasons, but obviously you do have these extension vendors out there that are serving a huge portion of the market. And what I'm saying is, listen, there is this level of resentment in the community. There is this level of pain being caused for X, Y, and Z. Let's figure it out. You know what I mean? Let's somehow have a conversation. Funny. Whenever people say let's have a conversation, it's kind of a BS statement. But if there's somebody we can talk to over there that can say, hey man, do you understand what's going on here? How are we fixing this? What are the escalation paths?
I will ping them to see if they wanna do an interview and just talk about how.
And I don't know about an
operates.
interview. I mean, we'll talk about that. That might be we might need that might be a bit much, but we'll see. We'll figure it out. Well, that was good. I feel like that was a good, fair coverage of the whole thing from many different angles. So
yeah, and I just think there's so much negativity has been around in the Magento world.
Yeah,
and some of it has been called for, some of it not really. And I'm just trying to steer away of that a little bit.
Yeah.
And and focus on the positive things. I mean, if you don't have positive things to focus on and a lot of things are crap, then it's a hard thing to do. But I feel there's so many great things that we have in the Magento community, and especially in our Huva community.
Yeah.
We just try to bring all the good vibes.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I've been explaining to San in the last week what Huva stands for, and it's nice because explaining that makes me like reiterate and like reaffirm for myself that we're here to make people happy and to do the good things for the merchants and the agencies.
That's cool.
And we talked about that we don't take any payment providers offer us like a partnership to take commissions on payments, and we stay entirely clear of that. I don't think that's our place to do that, because that in my eyes is where agencies should decide where those fees go. Like, do you give a discount to the merchant, or do you let an agency? They take the first line support, so they actually work for being the intermediate between the payment provider and the merchant. So if they want to take a little kickback for that, they totally should. But if we start to do that, then we're taking money away from agencies.
Yeah.
And,
when I first found out that people would just on the sneak tip would drop their affiliate referral code into the Magento settings for PayPal or whatever, it completely blew my mind.
Remind me what there was a third-party PayPal extension or integration, and that used a referral link.
It might have even been
someone's PayPal.
It might have even been first party. I can't remember. I just remember there was a way to put your referral code in, and they would just drop it in. And I mean, I don't think that's unethical. And then once people are more aware of it,
wait. If you're building an open source third party extension that lets you do something with PayPal in your Magento account,
third party. No. I mean,
first party is even worse. Is someone who was the person making the referral revenue there then?
Well, like the scenario I'm thinking of is an agency builds a site, and then they build the site and they go in and then they put their referral code in, so they get some commission on payments revenue. That's what I'm remembering. To me, it's probably better to have a conversation about that with your client. But I wouldn't say that's unethical necessarily to drop, because it's not coming out of their pocket anyway. It's it's not, you're not inflating their fees or anything like that. Probably better to talk about it. But it was just funny to me. And I've never done that personally, but I just thought it was kind of wild that you could just drop a code in there and start
As an agency, I think you also have the responsibility to help your merchants negotiate and find the best payment provider that has the best rates. And I know I took on some projects in my agency days where someone did $80,000 per month in PayPal, and you may think that's high or low, whatever, but they were paying the full fees for that, the full percentage. While if you're above, I don't know what, 50K per month, you can get like a severe discount on your PayPal transactions. You need only to send one email to PayPal and they'll activate a discount.
That's crazy.
And with payment providers, it's the same. You can, if you have certain volume of transactions, you can negotiate discounts. And as an agency, you've already earned yourself back for the merchant. I took on one, like that one merchant that was paying too much for PayPal. They were also paying the full amount for their the regular transactions, and we negotiated discounts. And within the first week that we worked with them, they already saved almost 100,000 euros for the first year. They said this is already going to save us 100,000 euros this year.
That's awesome.
So that was pretty good.
To round up,
I know you're close to close to end time. I just wanted to finish up like my train of thought about the negativity in community and trying to steer away from that.
That's a whole. I have so many thoughts on this. I wanted to. Maybe this is a good one because I had a whole rant on it as well. Maybe we, but yeah, wrap it up.
Yeah, we really nurture the atmosphere on our Slack. Like if I see someone say, if someone asks, does anyone use this and this extension, and someone responds like, yeah, it's crap, I immediately write them like, please reword that.
I have so many thoughts on this. I wish I didn't have a hard stop literally right now. I have so many thoughts.
So we have a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Cliffhanger for next week. It's going to be good. It's going to be fantastic.
Cool.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Sorry for cutting that off. I accidentally scheduled something when I shouldn't have because I should have known we were going to do this on the fly. But we will see everybody soon in New York. If you're not going to New York, get a ticket because you're going to be hating life if you don't. That's all I have to say. And
I concur.
We'll see you next week. Thanks everybody for tuning in.